Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is April 18th, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be touching on several different subjects today. But first and foremost, I want to congratulate Marfugal News for reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And let me tell you, folks, today, if you are reporting on news or what they claim as conspiracy type news, reaching 100,000 subscribers is quite difficult. So I want to congratulate Marfugal News for reaching this milestone. Also, ladies and gentlemen, this is a fantastic YouTube channel to watch and put into your repertoire of channels. Now, Marfugal News also has another YouTube channel called Marfugal TV. So if you just go up here to your search box and type in Marfugal News, go over here and click that little bell and make sure you are getting all notifications, but also make sure you subscribe. After you're done subscribing to Marfugal News, go up here to your search box, delete news, and put the letters TV. Hit click. Don't hit click. Click and go to Marfugal TV. And he does great presentations with live call-ins. I've been on his show a couple of times, and we're actually putting together a little extravaganza with some other YouTubers to kind of celebrate his milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers. But if you want some interesting news, go to Marfugal News, subscribe, and then go to Marfugal TV and subscribe. And folks, make sure that you are clicking on that little black bell. That is one of the trickiest things that YouTube has installed, I think maybe a year or two ago. If you see the words right below here, if you do not click on that bell, you will only get occasional notifications. Okay, you have to click on that bell to get all notifications. So show Marfugal News and Marfugal TV your support. Trust me, folks, you won't regret it. You'll find all of the information quite interesting. Also, folks, I want to give a big shout out to Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel. He's been doing some fantastic work with his videos. And like I said, folks, it's very, very hard to build these YouTube channels nowadays with all of the censorship. So go up to your search box on your YouTube channel and type in Blue Kool-Aid. Oh yeah. And you'll see his little blue Kool-Aid YouTube icon. Make sure you find that, click on it, go to his YouTube channel, click on subscribe, and once again, you see that little black bell? You have to click on that black bell. That black bell is very important. That will make sure that you get all of the notifications. But show your support, get on over there and subscribe to the Blue Kool-Aid channel, and you will find his documentation and his information very, very interesting. We have to continue to show our support for other related YouTube channels. Okay, folks, now let's get down to some nitty-gritty news. I received a bunch of emails and inbox messages again this morning. And, I start my day at 4 a.m. just about every single day, sometimes a little bit earlier. And I guess we brought some attention to that story, that article that people were sending me. And it was related to this astrophotographer that took this photograph and the headline was amateur photographer takes photograph of large planet above Earth. Well, let me just say I went ahead and investigated it for all of you, and we found the truth very quickly. So anyways, I'm reading these messages this morning, and I guess after I exposed the truth on that news article, if you even want to call it news, I got a slew of inbox messages and emails telling me to go look at the WSO channel. Well, look, folks, all of you know by now, I don't care for Steve Olson. I don't like Steve Olson. I don't like the WSO channel. I don't like what it stands for. And 99.9% of the time, he is doing nothing but spewing complete garbage. And if you just want to go ahead and take a look at this video, go right ahead. Give him some YouTube views. That's what he needs. But anyways, I guess he was going over this article, and you could see the headline right there in his video. Amateur astronomer photographs the sickle of a huge planet near the Earth. And if you listen to this garbage, he goes on to just let you people continue to believe that that's exactly what it was, a huge planet. But when in fact, we already found out that it was not a huge planet. It was the moon. And the photograph was taken back in 2007 by a professional astrophotographer with state-of-the-art equipment. And that huge planet was the moon in the daytime sky, and the small little planet behind it in a crescent was Venus. So again, folks, I guess this goes a little further into the fact that there are a lot of YouTube channels that just really don't do their homework. And this has been a continual pattern with WSO for like the last 2 years. So, I don't know. You want to give him some YouTube views? Go ahead over there. Check out what he has to say. And there were some comments related to these black lines in the sky. And I have covered this also. And I do have some very, very credible information pertaining to these black lines in the sky. And it's related to those chemtrails. And I guess Mr. Olson over there, I don't know. He was going through some blowhard information pertaining to these black lines. I have addressed this many times before. And I guess all of you are going to force my hand to give you the information on these black lines. Because the black lines that we are seeing in the sky, and it's only been over the last, I would say, just about 2 years that these black lines have been appearing. It's not what this WSO video is saying. Okay? So I'll show you the evidence, and if you want to, go leave some comments over there and let Mr. Olson know that the huge planet that was in the sky in that article was not a huge planet. It was nothing more than our little moon. And I think that you guys like seeing me get myself into trouble with these other YouTube channels. And that's cool. I don't mind some controversy, and I don't mind the attacks. It's no big deal. I was looking at some of the comments under my last 2 live streams, and some of them are very comical, especially the one where this guy said something something to the effect that I think of myself as Jesus, meaning he's saying that me, I think of myself being Jesus Christ. Well, folks, that's absolutely not true. Just because I am confident in my research and the information that I bring to you guys, it doesn't mean that I am the Christ Almighty. And I don't preach religion on my YouTube channel. Many people tell me, oh, Scott, you should read the Bible. Read the Bible. But here's the thing, folks. I spent 8 years in Catholic school, and I got a fantastic education before I entered into regular high school. And yeah, I had a religion class every single day for 8 straight years. I had a fantastic sister, a nun, who was a biblical scholar. And during that 8 years of education, we read the Bible from the very beginning to the end. And Sister Susan did not teach us the Bible as a religion. She taught us the Bible as a book of history. And in my opinion, that is exactly what it is. It is a book of history. And I have read it from front to back. And, you know, I'm not a, you know, quote, super religious man. I don't go to church every Sunday. And I hold all of my beliefs within my own heart. I know right from wrong. I don't need a Bible to tell me that. Don't take offense to what I'm saying. It's just the way that I feel. And something else that I don't do. I don't use religion to suck in subscribers like other YouTube channels do. They use your religion against you, not for you. So I'll probably get some backlash over that, but no big deal. But let's get into these black lines in the sky. And later on today, folks, I had a bunch of people inboxing me. I guess they might have seen some other articles related to this East African rift. Is a part of Africa breaking off of the continent? And later on today, we will be checking all of that out. I've done some live streams and some videos and some investigative work on this East African rift over the last couple of years because it is getting bigger. It is expanding. And, you know, there's some sensationalism related to this. Trust me, it is one hell of a sight to see. But we will get into that maybe sometime early afternoon. But for right now, let's check out the evidence that I have acquired over the last 2 years related to these black lines in the sky. Now, folks, as we get into this information pertaining to these chemtrails, as you can see, the government is definitely involved in the dispersion of these so-called chemtrails. I started documenting this way back in 2005. And I started noticing, you know, very, very weird things in the sky and all of these crisscross patterns. And I was wondering, what the hell is that? You know, I'm 65 miles away from the nearest international airport here in Pittsburgh. And, you know, maybe every once in a while I would see, you know, a small Piper single engine airplane fly by. We do have a small local airport nearby, but, you know, very seldom would I see, you know, jets whizzing by. We're just not in their flight path. But then all of a sudden I started to see all of these lines in the sky. And, you know, the analytical side of me started wondering, what in the hell are those? So back in 2005 is when I really started to take notice of what was being conducted in our skies. And again, my analytical side said, hey, Scott, you better look into this. And I did. And I think it was by 2010, I was documenting these lines in the sky with my camera. And this was way before I was even on Facebook. And I was downloading all of this information into my computer. And, I was analyzing these photographs. And, I got on to Facebook, I think, I think my first Facebook page was maybe 2007 or 8. I actually forget. But by 2015, I started talking about these chemtrails, because after investigating this, I started to find out what the hell they were doing up there in the sky. And within the first year, Facebook deleted my personal Facebook page with no questions asked. Boom, that's it, man. They just 86'd me. And I, started another Facebook page. And from that point, I never really talked about these chemtrails again. But always in the back of my mind, I've wondered what the hell they were doing. And I continued on with my investigations, and me and Dr. Albers wrote a book about these chemtrails, the killers in the sky. And I had the opportunity in September of 2016 to do an interview with a chemtrail pilot right here in Pittsburgh. And I mentioned this yesterday, and this was a pretty devastating time for me, because I actually became friends with this man as he was actually dying from cancer. And like I said, I will do a complete video once again on my interview with Joe and his wife. But as you can see, these chemtrail pilots, oh my God, I said the wrong word. These chemtrail pilots, they are given patches, as you can see. Okay, this isn't a fake photograph. I've had this photograph for a long time. And as you can see on this guy's uniform, it's U.S. Army. And the U.S. Air Force is also involved, and so is the U.S. Navy. Over the years, they have developed these chemtrail contractors, and now commercial airliners, and they're all very equipped with this equipment. And don't let anybody fool you about what they're doing up there. Now, all of a sudden, over the last, I think about maybe the last 6 months, the cat's out of the bag, and they're coming out and calling this geoengineering, stratospheric aerosol injections, and they're now giving the excuse of what they plan to do. Okay, folks. See, they're backtracking. Okay, they've been doing this for a long time. But now they're coming out and they're saying, okay, we are now going to do this. We are now going to experiment with this now and in the future. And the reason being is they are trying to keep the planet cool. They are also trying to bounce back radiation that is spewing onto the Earth. Now, listen, folks. Again, because of all of the conspiracy, they really had no choice but to bring this out. For people that watch or know who Dane Wigington is, he's been all over this for a long period of time. He does seminars on this whole subject matter. He has a website, YouTube channel. I mean, they have blasted him to high hell documenting this. And it's become a huge topic all over social media platforms, and they despise it. They actually listen to your videos to pick out those words, and then they put a disclaimer at the bottom of your video, and it talks about, those chemtrails. And it gives you some kind of wacky definition for a Wikipedia. But anyways, we know what they're doing up there. Now, there's a lot of speculation. Maybe there's a combined effort to what they're doing. There is a high possibility that, they are trying to keep the planet cool, maybe trying to bounce back radiation that is coming in. It's a topic that I talk about all the time. Back in 2017, I started to notice these black lines in the sky. They kind of looked like shadows. And sometimes, now listen, folks, listen, don't get me wrong. Sometimes we do see shadows in the sky. But that's not what we're talking about here. There is proof that sometimes what they are spraying is dark gray or black. I have even seen them in dark blue. Now, listen to me very carefully. They are experimenting and have been experimenting with different compounds. Different compounds that have different reflective properties. We know all about the aluminum chafe or chafe or whatever they want to call it. We know about that because we have ground samples and air samples that prove what's being sprayed in the sky. Back in 2017, I had this, weird and crazy revelation, and another friend of mine that researches chemtrails, we had a conversation, and I said to him, I'm like, listen, have you been noticing these dark blue or black lines in the sky? And he said, yeah. He said, I was thinking that they were shadows. And we both started to investigate this together. And he lives nearby me. He's not on YouTube or anything like that. And we photographed a lot of this. And we did get some recordings of these dark lines. And what we found out was these planes have multiple aerosol disbursement nozzles on them. Sometimes we see the trails just, oh God, excuse me, choked on my coffee there. Matter of fact, let me get a sip of that. Oh my God, I almost choked to death right here live on YouTube. I'm sure that would have made some people happy. But anyways, we started noticing these black lines, and we were watching and we were monitoring this. And I came up to, this revelation. I'm like, oh my God, man, are they spraying something different? So as we were watching some of these planes, they went ahead first and they sprayed this dark gray compound, and you can barely see it. And then we noticed either a secondary plane or the same plane backtracking and now flying back over that black line and spraying this white material. And I'm like, what in the hell are they doing? So maybe it is some type of a compound that they're using that they have to use like a double layer. And it is creating some very, very weird patterns and very weird shadows in the sky. So I'm going to go ahead and let's get out of these, let's get these two goons off of my screen. And let me show you the evidence that that I've acquired over some time here. Getting into this was actually caught by a subscriber of mine. Oh my, I forget when this was sent to me. I actually had to dig through all of my photographs to get some of this info for you. But he was on a commercial flight, and all of a sudden he had a window seat right behind the engine, and all of a sudden he saw this smoke coming out of it, and he damn near freaked out. He's only been on a plane twice. And he said to himself, oh my God, the damn engine's on fire. And he took a picture of it with his cell phone right up against the glass, and he got a fantastic picture. And as you can see, let's zoom into that. You can see that nozzle. Now, folks, if you know anything about jet airliners, the fuel for a jet airliner is carried in the wings. Okay, that's where all of the fuel is. It's balanced in several compartments inside of the jet airliner wing. But as you can see, there are tanks right here. And you can clearly see that nozzle. And that nozzle is dispersing that chemical compound. So I thought that was a very interesting photograph, and I've had that for quite some time. Now, this was also caught. Let's zoom in here. This photograph was also caught by someone in a smaller plane, and they were actually at risk and possibly even violating FAA regulations about getting that close. I forget the history behind this actual photograph. I don't even think it was from the United States. But you can see the commercial airliner, and what is it spewing? What looks like black smoke. Okay, but jet airliners, yeah, they don't produce black smoke. If a jet airliner is producing black smoke from the engine, yeah, that plane's going to crash, more than likely. But we've seen more and more of this. So in relation to what Steve Olson was telling you on that video that he produced, it's just not true, folks. There are definitely very weird things going on. And in this photograph, it's a prime example. Now, if you were to look at that, you would think that this is a shadow of this chemtrail line. But in actuality, it's not. These are two totally different lines. How I can tell, I've got a very, very good eye. And without playing around with the color on here, you can see the secondary chemtrails perfectly straight. And they kind of follow really, really close to the primary dark colored line. There's a small bend right here in the primary line that doesn't appear in the secondary line. So that tells me that these are two separate lines that were produced in the sky. Okay, and there's a reason why they're doing this. When we see this double chemtrail line in the sky with a dark one and a white one, usually that's about the time we start seeing these sun halos. And all of you know that now, over the last, I would say the last 2 years, we have seen so many of these sun halos. I myself, I have a whole entire slew of sun halo photographs that I have taken myself. And they have always been in direct relation to this double chemtrail line. Now, again, listen to me. Sometimes, because of the effects of the so-called sunlight and what they're spraying in the sky will produce a shadow effect. But more than likely, folks, they are spraying two compounds. Okay? They're overlapping them. What it does to the sky, I don't exactly know, because this is kind of new. Within the last couple of years, they're doing this, and they're probably experimenting with some things. Now, this photograph was sent to me quite a while ago, and once again, we're looking at the evidence. This is not a picture of a plane crashing and their engines burning out. Okay, let's zoom into that. Okay, all four aerosols are being sprayed, and that's not white. That actually has like a bluish, steel blue gray color to it. And I have seen this myself. And if you look far, far back there, far back, you can see that they are laying that down. And what's right over here? A city. A whole entire city. They're laying it down, man. So when people refer to black chemtrail lines, this information has now been coming out. I'm not the only one who has talked about it. There have been many others. And I'm taking a very big chance on showing all of you this today, because these other folks that have investigated these black chemtrail lines have been booted off of YouTube, kicked off of Facebook, kicked off of Twitter, and a few of them have had their websites dedicated to this. They've had their websites shut down. Yeah. So, there you go. Looks pretty mysterious, doesn't it? And that is one hell of a photograph. I don't know exactly how it was obtained, but it's definitely showing you what I'm talking about. Move on to the next photo here. This photograph here, once again, getting into some of mine. And I literally have hundreds and hundreds of photographs of the sky that I have documented with this so-called phenomenon. Okay, now in this photograph, folks, these are not shadows. This is not some trick of light. These are two separate patterns made by the same plane. And again, they're laying down the primary trail and coming back through and laying down the secondary trail. I don't know what is in this primary trail. I don't know what is in that black compound. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. There is some speculation out there that it has something to do with powderized, magnetized powder of some kind. And again, that's just what I'm hearing from people that I keep in touch with that highly investigate this matter. Now, why they would be doing that, I don't know. But there's a high possibility that that's what it is. And if you were going to be dispersing some type of magnetized powder, it would be made of what? Some kind of metal? And what color is metal? It's kind of a grayish black color. What they're doing with that, I don't exactly know. But I'm sure if we continue to dig, we will eventually find out. So, sometimes, folks, you may be seeing shadow effects, but sometimes you're not. What you're actually seeing, you're seeing them lay down a primary trail and a secondary trail. Sometimes the planes are working in conjunction with another plane. One is laying down the primary black trail, and the other is laying down the secondary white trail. So, folks, I do my homework. When I come on to YouTube to do a live stream or a video, I am making sure that I am giving you the best credible evidence that I can find. I just don't shoot from the hip and throw stuff out there and, make you believe it. You're here for truthful answers. You're not here for me to entertain you. Yeah, every now and then I'll crack a joke and make you smile. But, I'm not a comedian, and the matters that we discuss are serious. And this is definitely getting to be one of them. Now, if you look very, very closely at this photograph, you're going to see already these double lines. Okay? This was a pretty hard photograph to capture. You see the culprit right here, and he is spraying his white lines. But very faintly, you can already see the darker ones, and he's backtracking over it. Now, I don't know if I could play around with the color with this. Let's see if we could maybe darken this up so maybe you guys can see it a little more. Oh, what else can we do here? Oh, that might bring it out a little bit more. There you go. You could see him a little bit more clearly right there. So that's what they're doing. They're giving us like some kind of a double dose. Sick bastards. But yeah, let me go ahead. I'll save that so we can view it a little bit better. And it does look like it creates a shadow effect. And again, I'll repeat myself. Sometimes we are seeing a shadow effect from what they're doing up there. I'd sure as hell like to be a fly on the wall or in the plane. I'd sure like to know exactly what they're doing pertaining to this new so-called stratospheric aerosol injections, geoengineering. This is another proof positive photograph. Because of the distance, it's very, very hard to see the actual plane right there at the tip of my cursor. But in this photograph, folks, the black line was laid down first. Then the secondary rerun on that path was laying down the white one. And this was right over top of it. Okay, so that's not a shadow. That was a black line. And the secondary plane came through and laid down a white one. And I'm sure that as these trails, get caught in the upper level winds, which is what they want, they disperse, and then they just create this kind of weird haze over the sky. It does block out the so-called sun, but not completely. You ever notice that? And again, I'm going to mention this. When do all of you remember our sun being white? Our sun is not white. When I was a kid, it was orange, yellow. What happened to that? Yeah. Now, when you take photographs, it's white. It almost looks like some fluorescent lighting. That gets into the whole aspect of the sun simulators. And people still debate that they don't believe in that. Hey, you're all welcome to your own opinions on that. I've done very, very thorough investigations into that subject. Me and Dr. Albers wrote a book about it. And matter of fact, right after we wrote the book about the sun simulator and the chemtrails on June 1st, 2018, I got a knock at the door at 6 p.m. on the dot, and it was 2 FBI agents. Yeah. Their advice to me and Dr. Albers was, get off of YouTube, stay off of social media, and don't write any more books, because you are really pissing people off at NASA. Quote. Yeah. I took it as a threat, but it didn't matter. 6 weeks later, me and Dr. Albers wrote another book. I called the FBI agent because he left his card, and called him on his cell phone, told him who I was. He said, "Oh, hello, how are you?" I said, "I'm doing pretty good. I just wanted to let you know that me and Dr. Albers just wrote our 7th book, and it's published, and it's on Amazon." And he kind of chuckled a little bit and hung up on me. Yeah. You don't see too many YouTubers out there taunting the FBI. And it really wasn't taunting him, but I didn't appreciate being told to get off of YouTube and don't write any more books. Hey, man, what are we doing here? Are we living in Nazi Germany? You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm not breaking any laws. What happened to my freedom of speech, man? Yeah. So since then, me and Dr. Albers have combined our efforts to write 10 books. And maybe we'll write number 11. Just to be spiteful. Let me take a sip of my coffee, folks. Now that it's cold and I don't choke on it. But anyways, folks, this was another photograph that I acquired. And once again, you see that black line ripping through the sky. And, I just told you guys in my live stream last night, don't take pictures through trees. Don't take pictures through windows. Well, this picture, you just couldn't help it. This was not a shadow through the sky. This was towards the very end of the disbursement. And if you just take a look at the sky within the picture, you see the clouds. The clouds have now the trails have now dispersed into these kind of weird looking puffy little clouds, and you see the simulator breaking through because they do want you to have light. We do have to have light because, oh my God, God forbid that we go into that 3 days of darkness. But anyway, that was not a shadow. That was a plane that was caught laying down the black trail. Yeah, the evidence is getting deep, folks. And this photograph was just absolutely amazing. And what I'm about to explain to you, this goes into the aspect of why are we seeing all of these rainbow-colored clouds? Why are we taking these photographs of this so-called white sun and seeing this rainbow effect around it. I myself have documented this. Okay, there is a high possibility, once again, that they are trying to disperse reflective material into our skies. Folks, maybe they are trying to do the right thing. Maybe they are trying in their own sick-minded way to save the planet and cool it down. But it's just blown up into this massive conspiracy. Because that's what it is. When you hide things from the people, that's a conspiracy. We're breathing what they're spraying. It makes its way down to the earth, gets into our water, gets into our soil. It lands on our trees and our plants and our food that's growing in the fields. Yeah. And the rate of asthma and breathing related problems around the world has grown massively. People that never showed any signs of asthma are now being diagnosed with it. All kinds of bronchial problems, all kinds of breathing problems. Yeah. So, that just shows you that whatever they are dispersing, sometimes, or most of the time, it may be some type of reflective material in order to bounce back the incoming solar radiation. I don't even know if that's exactly possible, but that's what they theorize, I guess. So, that's an amazing photograph. Now, here is another just rip your guts out proof. This is a chumtrail plane, and this was captured, and looky what you got behind it. What is that, a shadow? Hell no. They are dispersing material that is of a dark, dark navy blue, kind of gray, black matter. It's not an airplane with its engines burning up. Okay? That is a disbursement. Okay? It is a nice, even trail right behind it. There's no puffy, billowy clouds that, come from an engine burnout on a plane. Okay? That's black. And that's what they are producing. And obviously, there is a reason why they are doing it. More or less, they're trying to block out the sun, but not completely. And I don't think it has anything to do with weather modification, folks. Weather modification, cloud seeding, that's been done since, you can take that all the way back to the Vietnam War. They started cloud seeding over Vietnam during the war to create big rain clouds and massive downpours of rain so they can drown out the rice paddies against the Vietnam, so they would harm their food sources and flood their roads and just literally put them into flood conditions. But what they didn't realize, those dummies, is that our own U.S. soldiers were out there in waist-high and chest-high water. So, that information was divulged years ago. And, the cloud seeding has been around for some time. And then you wonder why we have areas of the world that are suffering from drought. Well, how in the hell is that possible with all of their nasty little technology? Yeah. Makes you really wonder, huh? They can actually stop a drought They don't choose to do so. That's evil, if you ask me. Many people around the world lose their lives because of drought and famine. And they have the technology to put an end to it. But they don't. I consider that evil. There was a gentleman who put out a DVD, as you can see right down here. New creepy black chemtrails now being sprayed in your sky. I don't know if that is still available. That was sent to me some time ago. I've had it in my little archives. Yeah. So, that just goes to show you folks that there's a lot of creepy stuff going out there. And I took this photograph. We looked at it, and you can see it's a little pixelized here because I had my camera set to a different pixel size. So the actual photograph was very, very small. So as I expanded, it kind of pixelizes a little bit. But this just goes and it shows you these separate lines. These are not shadows. Those are actually separate lines. And that's what they're doing in our skies. So, I don't know, whatever WSO was saying in his video, I couldn't even listen to that garbage. I listened to maybe like a minute and a half of it. And the guy's way off. He needs to start doing more homework, more investigative work before coming onto YouTube and delivering his message to his subscribers. When you subscribe to a YouTube channel like ours, you want to go there to get the correct information. You just don't want somebody blowing smoke up your ass for YouTube views. If you don't like what I'm saying about another YouTube channel, then hey, unsubscribe, don't come back here, don't watch my informational videos. But I know for a fact that you'll be back because you just can't help yourself. Like I was saying in my live stream last night, people, I get these bozos that leave these comments underneath my videos. Oh, that's it. I'm unsubscribing. And I go and I look them up in my subscription list of subscribers, and I see that they're still there. So I had 5 of those comments, and I looked these 5 people up in my subscription list, and just to be a prick, I went to their YouTube channel, and there's nothing on them. It's just a blank channel. And in order to comment on YouTube, you have to have a channel. So I looked up these 5 people that were spewing their garbage in the comment section underneath my video, and I banned them. I blocked them from commenting on my YouTube channel. So they can still watch my videos, but they can't come into the comment section and spew their garbage anymore. But they did stay subscribed. So don't hand me that psychological garbage that you're going to unsubscribe. Oh, Scott's going to be so upset that somebody unsubscribed from his YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. There should be millions upon millions of people listening to what I have to say. No, that's not my Jesus or God complex. It's just the confidence within me of what I investigate, what I research, and what I show you folks. I do my homework. I just don't come out here and shoot from the hip and tell each and every one of you what you want to hear. In my last live stream, we talked about the end of days. I don't know about you folks. Again, I'll reiterate, I'm not looking forward to this end of days. I want to continue to live. In the same aspect, each and every day of our lives now is a fight. We have so many things going on in space. We have so many things going on in our skies. We have so many things going on in the political front in all countries on this globe. It is a continual fight. It is not a time for division. It is a time for unity. But that unity is very, very hard when you have morons out there that have their own agendas and they don't care about anybody else. They only care about themselves. It's very hard to bring those types of people into your unity. I hope you understand what I mean. And I also hope that the information that I brought to all of you today was a good topic to answer a lot of questions. Because I've been getting a lot of questions about, once again, what are they doing up there? Why are they doing it? How are they doing it? And I could go on about this subject for 4 or 5 hours. I can show you my whole entire database on this subject. It would make your head spin, because I've been documenting it for a long, long time. And I do talk to people that heavily investigate this also. And I've also received the information from the inside whenever I interviewed Joe, who was the Chum Trail pilot, and it's unfortunate that, I interviewed Joe September 30th, 2016, and he passed away from being riddled with cancer Christmas Eve, 2016. That kind of broke my heart. He didn't even get to spend his last Christmas with his family. And it was just absolutely terrible. One of his surgeries involved cutting his tongue out. He couldn't talk anymore. During our interview, he had to write everything down. And at the time, he did not really know what he was doing. And he wrote me a letter, which I still have. And he wrote down on a piece of paper with a black Sharpie magic marker. And he said, tell the people that I'm sorry. That put a lump in my throat, because I truly felt bad for the man after meeting him and seeing all of the huge open sores on his legs and his back and the huge scar on the side of his neck and the feeding tube, and watching the pain of his wife, watching her husband die and rot. It really cuts into you. But I'm sure by now they've perfected this so-called method of disbursement. But anyways, folks, there's the evidence that I have on these black lines in the sky. And yes, sometimes you are seeing kind of weird shadows that are being produced by the reflection of this so-called white sun, and also the disbursement of these white trails, and also the black ones. And again, folks, if you don't like me being critical of another channel, hey, sorry, but I want the truth. And apparently, hundreds of you that inbox me, email me, message me, you want the truth also. And you are out there on YouTube more than I am, viewing all of these other videos. And I guess that you're seeing things now that are opening up your eyes and you're disagreeing with, or you're just standing on the fence and, maybe you've listened to me before and you're like, wait a minute. Let me contact Scott over there at Planet X News. Let me get his input on this. And again, maybe you don't like me on a personal level, but you are interested in what I have to say. And that's all I have to say about this subject. Later on today, folks, I'm going to be going over the information pertaining to this East African rift. Is Africa splitting apart? There was a very strange earthquake there today, and it wasn't too far away from this huge rift that I think now is about 3,600 miles long or 3,600 kilometers. I'm not sure about that, but I have information put together. We'll be going over all of that later on. I'm sure all of you will find that pretty spectacular and very, very interesting. But for right now, at least you know that what you're seeing in the sky, these black lines, yeah, sometimes they're shadows, but the majority of the time, this is what they are doing in the skies above your head. Keep on taking photographs, folks. Document what you are seeing. Don't be afraid to put it out there and let other people see it. This is one of the main reasons why I developed my Chum Trail t-shirts. And, look, I don't make a lot of money on it. I think it's like $1.18. But, hundreds of people have purchased these shirts and they wear them. And I wear mine all the time. I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing my fluorescent green one. And I go out everywhere. And I have sparked conversations up at gas stations, at supermarkets, in fast food restaurants, on the street, whatever. People say, hey, what's that shirt all about? Oh, hey, yeah, I know all about that. And it strikes up those conversations. If you're interested in any of the band geoengineering shirts, the Chum Trail shirts, you can go into the description box underneath my video, look for our Teespring t-shirt account, go to our t-shirt website and order one. They're $25. Wear it. Let people know that you know what's going on in the skies above. Therefore, you become a walking billboard. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, folks, that's what I have for you based on these black lines in the sky. Sometimes they are shadows, but most of the time, it's something that they are spraying. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be bringing you that information on the East African Rift later on today, possibly early this evening. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, folks.